It's in the eyes, Chico. They never lie. How's it going, guys? Welcome to Oye Cinema Club. We are here today to discuss the movie Scarface, my pick. And I'm here with some lovely and amazing hosts. I'm here with the lovely Marina, Watch Laugh Cry. We have JP Saruno. We have Jason underscore Echoes. We have El Dondino. And me, Antonio Montañas. And today we're going to be discussing Scarface, like I said. And I picked this movie because it is one of those movies that everybody has quoted, has been iconic. People have made posters. They live their whole lifestyle. They put their own costumes. They try to emulate a lot of the things from this movie. It's a very iconic film for a lot of people, and it's a film that you hear about it, but for people like me, they don't see it. And this was my first time watching this movie, and in the first impressions, before I go on mine, I want to first go with someone that's never watched this movie before either. So I'm gonna go with Marina because I'm assuming you never watched this movie before.
So yeah, it's weird. I feel like this is one of those movies that comes on like Showtime once a year, or something like that. And so like I feel like I've seen like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. There were scenes where I remember vividly, but this is my first time sitting down watching the entire thing from start to finish. So it was kind of cool because it was like I feel like unlocked scenes I've known since I was a kid, but I never sat down and watched the whole thing. Um I love a gangster movie. Like I really feel like I was a gangster in another life. So when these movies come on, I'm like, haha, like yeah, I that's like oh,
Could you
that's
do that
how you
again?
do it,
The ha
blah blah
ha.
blah. Yeah, like I just my loyalty. There's certain parts about like the gangster mentality that I identify with so much, but like the gun shooting and probably dying and people trying to take it all from you. That's probably where I've been apprehensive about making that a career. But I love a movie where someone else like lives the life and they do it good. I've said it so many times. I also love combining that with like rags to riches, which this does as well. Like I felt my boy. He was like, I didn't come to America to wash dishes. Like, yes, yes, I got you. Go become a gangster. Like that's the only way. And so really, really, really enjoyed it. I think the thing that I missed, because obviously um I feel like the end, like a lot of the point where he was already like the boss I had seen before, but I never had seen like the beginning where I didn't know he was like a refugee and like that he didn't work his way up into this. So it was really cool. It was almost like historical too, because you don't really hear a lot about like Cuban history. You hear more so about like other countries that came to New York and kind of took over in like a mob boss type of way. So it was pretty interesting to have like this Cuban version of this story. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll dive into a lot of stuff, but just overall, A1 gangster movie. I see why the kids love it. Like it was really, really good to watch.
Right on.
Thank you so much, Marina. Let's go with the person that said right on, Jason.
Oh, so this is not my first time seeing it, but I am very impressed that there's two people in this group who haven't seen it yet. So I am actually most interested in what your opinions are going to be on it. My opinion of this thing, this is probably my fourth or fifth time maybe watching it, but it's once you've seen it, you start realizing like how much has been parodied and how much has been talked about at nauseum, and how much it really is part of like the American fabric at this point. This film, I mean, you can quote a line from this thing, and the whole room, everyone has probably seen it, for the most part, and any of the texture, like far as like the looks and the styles and the dress and the shirt and all those like little symbols in the movie and all the fashion, the white suit, um, all those things. I mean, it's so ingrained in us, this film. Upon this watching it, I'm going to be honest, I don't feel like I discovered anything new. I've done a couple of deep dives on this film in the past, so no new discoveries for me. But I do find it interesting that you guys see the movie and you think, well, at least you, Marina, where you think like, oh, okay, these guys are here for the American dream. Because I guess my ears did perk up, maybe this time a little bit more than ever, when he said, "I didn't come here to wash dishes." It's like, yeah, man, I feel like everybody feels like that. Like, I didn't fucking come here to wash no fucking dishes. Like, I'm trying to make something of myself, whether it's gangster stuff or not. It's like, I got better things to do. Like, this is nothing. Like, so, um, yeah, I mean, this is also a quintessential gangster American movie. This might, I mean, this is right up there with The Godfathers and Goodfellas as far as like an iconoclast, between these movies. I think this one sits there. Now, do I believe it should sit there? Absolutely not. This movie is fun, it's crazy, it's gangster, it's exciting. The music is cool. The 80s glam is like cool. It's sometimes it's a little funny, even when it's not trying to be. But this thing is, as far as a movie goes, this is not a top gangster movie to me. This doesn't make it into my top three, but in iconoclasm or whatever, if that's even a word, it is definitely up there. But yeah, it wouldn't. I don't even know if it's in my top five gangster movies. Like, it's just, to me, not that great of a film. Very memorable, but just as far as a film goes, I think this movie, for whatever reason, it hit something in America. Maybe it was the time when cocaine was really popping and this thing like hit the zeitgeist. But I think if you were to reproduce this movie today with all the other drug dealer movies and gangster movies out there, I don't think this thing really. I don't think anybody would care about it. Like a recreation, like another Scarface, which I'll ask you guys a question near the end. I want to about another Scarface, but I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm being hard on this thing because I do think it's a classic. But that was my impression this go around.
Thank you so much, Jason. Let's go with JP.
It's so 'cause, this is definitely not my first time watching the film either, but it's been quite some time. I really love Al Pacino in this breakout role as El Pacino.
Huh. Okay.
I'll tell you right now, man. I'm not gonna lie, because I kind of feel the same way that Jason does, where it's like I don't like it must have been a product of its time, sort of thing, where that's why it was just so popular when it came out. I'm also really surprised at how not old this film is. Sure, it's 40 years old now, but like I know movies that are older than this one, and I thought that this was older. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, it's hokey as fuck. I would definitely not compare this to The Godfather, which, yeah, there's no competition. Absolutely not. I'll tell you what though, I did. It took a lot of because when I was, especially when it's Pacino and the majority of the lead actors who are playing Cubans, they're not Cubans, and it's kind of hard to watch when you have that mindset of knowing it's like, oh, they're playing outside their race. I know, it doesn't. I don't think it's no fault to the movie. It definitely wouldn't fly now. But I couldn't help that. I couldn't help thinking that at all. Not think about that. I kept on thinking back to fucking South Park when they did the Kanye West episode, and they have one of the guys do Carlos Mencia. It's like, come on, man, don't do this to me, man. I got kids, man. Like that sort of thing. But overall, it's a solid popcorn movie. But this movie's way too fucking long. My ass was hurting. The movie should have ended by the second act. Sure, all the good shit is in the third and that final scene. Don't get me wrong, but this movie was way too fucking long. Overall, not a bad experience, but for a movie that has this much that's in the pop cultural zeitgeist, at this caliber, I kind of expected more, even though it was a revisit, a rewatch. So yeah, that's my my verbal nonsense of just ugh.
Thank you so much, JP, for your usual hate of a movie. Let's go with Dino.
Man, I'm so glad I'm not sitting next to Jason right now because we would have gotten into fisticuffs or any like. I
You
love
would have
this
broken the
movie.
lease.
Yeah, this is. I don't know. I have such a is so engraved in my heart from. uh I've seen this now. I don't know, 200 times maybe. And maybe it was because I saw it first in Paraguay right before moving to the US, and then right when I moved to the US, it was like the 20th anniversary that they came out with a DVD, and I missed this from now everything is streamable. Like there are no special features, so the DVD box set I think was two, and they had all these like little documentaries making of, and then also this whole part about like hip hop and rap culture and all that. And they interviewed all these rap artists and hip hop and just like how Scarface, the movie, really was ingrained in their culture. And kind of like Marina talking about like rags to riches and all that, and how they've used the Frank's house in like different music videos and all this stuff. So that being said, yeah, this movie, what I noticed this time, I always find something, so many crane shots. Like every scene seemed to have a crane shot. So, yeah, and not only that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the end it says dedicated to, and it has two names. This is actually a remake. A lot of people don't know that. There's a black and white Scarface, which is about Al Capone, which is why Marina, the whole mobster gangster thing, is makes sense. And at that time, maybe I also know all the history of this movie, basically, of just like how many Scorsese, everybody, Scorsese and De Niro were trying to make this movie. Like no one could figure it out. And in that time, it was the whole refugee of the Cubans and all that, and they found the way, to make it work. And this was a huge part of GTA Vice City, and then there was even a Scarface video game, which I bought, of course. And yeah, I don't know. I love this movie. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer, like, yeah, it has everything. Totally agree on even the name Tony Montana. Oliver Stone wrote this movie also. Brian De Palma directed. And the reason why he picked Montana as a last name was because of Joe Montana, the football player. So we can talk all about, yeah, the Cuban Latino kind of thing. And yeah, Manny is his last name is Echevarria, and it's like this, and he's changed the name because he was like, no one could pronounce my name, so just thought it would be easier to change my name, which is a whole other conversation also. Love this movie. I hate all you guys. I just want to go and watch this movie again. Also, might have the best montage in movie history. I even timed it. It's like 3 minutes and a half. I do think the movie feels a little long, but this montage, there's more of an arc and a story in this 3 minute and a half montage than in so many movies these days. So it's really well, like, and the music, yeah, I don't know. If you're still watching this, guys, whoever you are, don't listen to the propaganda of the people talking here trying to besmirk this movie.
Thank you so much, Dino. Let's go with Steve. All right, thank you so much. I'm gonna give you my first impression, guys. And it's legit my first impression. I never seen this movie. Maybe like Marina, I seen maybe some clips on something because we live in the era of social media, so there's clips and things for I don't know motivational quotes. But
Motivational
essentially,
quotes.
essentially, this movie, I agree with Dino. I feel like this movie is amazing in so many ways, and I can see why it has had such a humongous cultural impact. Because even though that was like one of the first things that I even asked myself the moment I started hitting play on the movie was like, is Al Pacino even like close to being Cuban, like by a relative or something? And I'm like, this dude's from Jersey and all this stuff. And then I looked at, and then because when you looked at information about a current about an actor, they put the latest picture, I guess, that they have, and I looked at how Al Pacino looks now, and I'm like, holy shit! I didn't know 40 years went by, but you can definitely feel it in his face. And but this film was incredible. I absolutely uh, enjoyed a lot of this film. I could definitely see a whole scene, literally a whole scene that was in the film that was literally the exact same scene they use in GTA Vice City. In GTA Vice City, shaped so many people my age now that play that game like so many times. So I definitely saw the influence. We definitely, for sure, have to be talking about the wardrobe because the clothing there was on fire. And I'm pretty sure the moment this movie came out, all the Cuban men in Miami were trying to dress like this dude. Uh, and uh, and yeah, like overall, I really had a fun time. And unlike JP, hater number one, uh, I was not. I did not feel this movie was long at all. I was like very captivated by it, and like I was actually having issues on my TV playing the movie. Would play and stop and play and stop, and I ended up just watching it on my laptop, and it was smooth and perfect because I was like so intrigued with everything by it, and yeah, and I just feel like this movie is so quotable in so many ways, has so many amazing scenes, and I'm actually so glad that I didn't find about this film back in the day when I was like trying to become an actor and stuff like that, because I would have been all over this film, just like doing monologues and
Yeah.
doing dialogue scenes in my school and stuff, just to be like, hey, just to try to make the voice like Tony Montana, because that voice killed me. That was the voice that,
I'm,
yeah, it killed me. But yeah, those
I'm
are
Steve
my
Des.
uh,
I'm Steve
Okay,
Des, man.
so
I'm Steve Des, man.
if you if you want to be highly amused, because you said you would have done this a lot if you had learned about it earlier, there's a school play online of
Yeah.
these little kids doing this as a school play, and it will be if you
I've
haven't seen it
seen
yet,
it.
it will be your new favorite thing.
What grade are they in?
Oh, they're
Middle
like
Second
school or
grade.
middle school.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
just
like
imagining.
grade school, man. Grade school.
I'm just imagining like the voice not had dropped yet. Just like,
Yeah, like they are okay. They're probably like 8 or 9, right?
No,
Yeah.
but the little kid doing Tony, holy shit, he deserves all the praise.
Yeah, it's pretty wild and pretty hilarious to see these
Uh,
children reenact this movie.
Steve, I will say, since in college is where I had this movie, and for people out there, this was the before I had cell phones. Cell phones were just coming into play. So my buddy and I, every phone call, we do the phone calls from this scene. So like a bunch of cowboys, like we fucked up, he got away, and we would like most people would do, I don't know, quote whether whatever other like comedy or whatever stoner movie, and we were all just quoting Scarface and doing the different phone calls and doing like, how do you get a scar like that? And yeah, so I never decided to do it as a monologue for a class or anything, but man, were we quoting this like the whole time. To I even my first apartment, we started. I was painting one of the walls to my room as Frank's wall that has like the palm trees and the sunset, and the door is kind of hidden in the painting, and we got the sunset everything. We never got to the trees because I got real busy. It was senior year. But yeah, no, I this movie was part of my life for sure, especially the beginning of my life here in the U.S. So
I love
yeah,
it. I love it. And I mean, I'm sorry you didn't become the gangster you wanted to be, just like him. But
Came from another country to the U.S. for nothing.
and now I'm washing dishes.
Right. It's like
so,
Hey
this
man,
watching this thing ain't so bad.
Steve, a couple of you guys brought it up. I didn't know if you wanted to touch on this or not. I can shut up. or I won't, haha. But like quote wise, like did you guys write notes of quotes that you knew? Because you guys know mine are like super cheesy, as you guys probably have like the deeper songs, but I definitely saw
All right,
certain.
let's hear them.
All right, so you remember when Nicki Minaj had that song where she's like, "You need rappers like me," like that's the "you need bad guys like me" part.
Uh-huh.
And then Jay Z, first you get the money, then you get the power. He put that in the song. Um, Rick Ross has the whole "push it to the limit." Um, I didn't know this. Don't take away my half black card, but John was telling me that Chris Tucker in Friday says the another Quaalude and she'll love me in the morning.
Hmm.
That's from
In
Friday,
the accent.
huh?
In the accent. He does the Tony Montana accent in the
Oh,
movie, Chris
yeah,
Tucker. He
yeah.
goes, so I mean, he does the whole thing.
Have I watched that in full? Probably not, but cool. But those are mine.
There's a ton of them, man. Like the biggest one, I mean, the goddamn granddaddy, one of the most known movie
Say
lines.
hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend. It's
And that can be retired now.
But what has that been in? Like who's redone that?
everything.
So many.
I don't know
All
what
the things. Like
one.
anything you've watched in the last 24 hours, it's been in it.
Rugrats, cartoons, kid shows,
Say hello
dramas.
to my little friend.
I mean, I can tell you the cable version of dubbing because that became a whole thing. If you saw some of this cheesy, it's like, how do you get a scar like that from eating pussy on TV? It's how do you get a scar like that from eating pineapple? It's like, try sticking your head up your ass, see if it fits. Try sticking your head in the toilet. Oh, did you guys lose me? Connection
No.
lost.
No,
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 okay.
we heard the lines.
Yeah. So
sorry, we didn't laugh hysterically now. Oh shoot.
Oh
Oh,
no.
so we actually lost him. So we kind of lost him like that guy lost himself in the helicopter. So let's talk about those epic death scenes. There's a lot of torture. There's a lot of stuff in this film.
You'll be hanging from a chopper. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
think the
chopper
torture
scene is
that
iconic.
yeah.
I feel like the chopper scene and the bathtub chainsaw are like the two big kills that have been like emulated and talked about ad nauseum.
I'm not gonna lie. When he was in that bathtub scene, I was legit like, so how does the movie continue? Like,
Yeah,
we're gonna just
good.
Yeah, I didn't I wasn't expecting that death at all. Same thing. I feel like grabbed a drink and then the guy was hanging out the helicopter. Like I feel like I blinked because I feel like I missed maybe like I remember they were on the phone and there was like they were looking back at them. I literally feel like I grabbed some more popcorn or something and I came back and like he was a narc and just like I was just like, well, that escalated very quickly. Like, what is happening? But both of those scenes I wasn't expecting the freaking oh wait, the chainsaw. I will say, right? Coming fresh, I feel like I was very intrigued to watch a classic movie like this coming in fresh. But I will say I didn't feel the movie was long, but I do feel like some of the plots were rushed. If there was anything I can criticize was maybe like writing rush. Like I feel like some of the scenes were so long and when we got to certain scenes it had to go so quickly. Like just like that scene was epic for the killing, but it kind of didn't really make sense that they were like going into this meetup and like almost a 99.9% chance that they would die. Like I don't know, it was just some of the stuff was a little bit, I guess, like unrealistic, but it still all came together.
So let me touch on that for a quick second because that is something that I noticed this time that I hadn't really paid attention to before. They were going to kill them no matter what at that hotel room in the beginning. Like, because they didn't even have the money and they were ready to kill them, right?
Yeah.
That's the part that didn't make any sense to me. Like, so you don't know that they have a car. You don't know what car is theirs. And you're ready to kill them over this deal. But you have the drug still. So you're trying to get over, obviously. But you're not getting anything just by killing them. So why are you killing them?
Yeah, it was a little.
Oh, because they're fucking dirty Cubans and they're Colombians, man. They don't like each other.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, just
they were so they were just to explain that scene. he he knew that he didn't have the money, but he did mention it's in the car, and he's like, no, he just said it's close by. But so he was trying to just get the information of where the
Right.
money was, and regardless, kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just
But he never got the information, and he just proceeded to kill mode.
Yeah.
So he was never going to get the money. They were just going to kill these guys up, chop them up, and that was going to be the end of it.
No, but basically what was happening was just everybody was trying to get one over each other.
okay. I mean, I guess if we could break it down and it can make some sort of sense, but I just feel like for the most part, some of the like where we've evolved when it comes to gangster movies is the plots make a lot more sense. It's not just like kill, 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 bang, 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 coke, 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 which was probably really great. It's like we've evolved from the cowboy movies back in the day, but it was still very entertaining. But a lot of those little shootouts didn't make sense, but it's still you enjoyed the concept of the cowboy gangsters. And then the same note, like, yeah, there's so many different things that go into like having a drug cartel that this movie didn't dive deep in. But it being original, I still have so much respect for it without even having to critique all those little things because like now, shoot, we get plots, we get vendetta history, we get like the proper guns, like we get such a breakdown now, but it was little things. Like if I thought about it long enough, like, that didn't really connect, but sure, I still want him to win and everything.
Yeah.
Here's the part where I wish Dino was here, but his Paraguayan internet's not working. So it's because like I feel like this film like had so much that they probably had to cut down, and that's probably the stuff that even I've been wanting. Like I'm pretty sure there's scenes of like Tony still working his way up, and you see,
There are
like,
more scenes of this movie, and the anniversary DVD that Dino talks about has those scenes. There's a few scenes, but this movie's already like JP said, this movie was already running 2:45 as is. This thing would have been 3.5 hours if they kept everything.
Yeah, I just feel like overall you can feel those cuts. Like I definitely can believe that there could have been more things, but they had to do what they had to do. I don't know. Not every movie's allowed 2 VHSs like Titanic. But yeah, not to get too picky about it. It's just like I can tell that there were some disconnects, but if you love gangster movies, you're willing to like ride over that and still appreciate the art of like what the story was trying to say.
Yeah.
so let's go into, of course, the favorite character. Let's start with Marina.
So, obviously, I feel like you want to gravitate towards main character because you're rooting for him the whole time. But I decided to switch it up and say that Michelle Pfeiffer's character is my favorite. Like, I just loved her. Like, she just like knew how to handle these gangster men. Like, she and do her white gold. But like, if she just didn't play around. She didn't give a fudge. But when it was time to like move on, I thought it was so funny because she talked a huge game, like straight off the rap. She's like, you could be the last person on earth. I would never do this with you. Like just very like blunt, 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 blunt. And but then he woke her up in the middle of the night. He's like, let's go. She was like, dang, you probably killed that man. Like you could just see her thoughts going, like, yeah, it's time to go. Like I chose this life. She was the perfect like gangster wife, like just all of the above, like just can't stop self-medicating because she's just like, wow, I can't believe I chose this here. Yeah, but she was definitely my favorite. And to kind of tie into Jason asking something about a part 2, I think it would be a really good part 2 if she was pregnant. Okay, bye.
Oh, wow.
That's the plot to the second half of the first Godfather.
It's connected or no?
Oh wait, no, that's straight up is the Godfather Part 2 actually. Yeah, when they fucking abort the poor baby.
Let's go with you, JP.
Oh yeah, with me. I didn't answer the first question, the favorite kill. So I guess my favorite kill actually in this movie, because I can't go with torture because the torture was the 2 hours and 49 minutes this movie was. Okay, oh, stop. It's not a bad movie. It's just fucking long. My favorite kill in the movie was actually Manny. Spoiler alert. Like, because also in my view, it was like, oh, that's personal. That was personal shit. But it was also like, because the thing that I think one of the things I didn't like about the movie was like how the weird tonal changes in the beat, especially with the music. Unfortunately, I think the synth in this movie, like, unfortunately ages it. Like, it dates the fucking movie by like in the 80s. But yeah, when he fucking just pops one in Manny for being a dumbass, Also, he's like, I want to have we were gonna surprise you. He was like, motherfucker, Tony's the last person you want to fucking surprise, and he straight up told you not to do that. So I don't feel sorry for Manny at all. So that was my favorite kill. My favorite character was Ernie in this movie. Fucking love that scene, man, because I thought the same thing there the whole time. It's like, Ernie's there, dude. Like, are we gonna just leave him alone? But it's like, Arnie, on your job, man. And it's like, yes, Tony, thank you. Hey, you got a job. It was such a great moment of comedic, like, also, especially after all that heavy shit in that scene, like, it was just, very just like, I love that. I love that moment. R.I.P. Ernie. Poor dude went out like a boss also in that last sequence. Oh, man, that last sequence.
Let's go with Dino.
Yeah, what's up? What's the question? Someone tried to cancel me. I think it was JP. Cut my internet.
What? What? No.
Favorite
So I
favorite
think
character and favorite character and favorite kill.
so kill is hard. By the way, we know about plot armor, but man, coke armor is on a whole nother level. Um, yeah. Favorite. What I also liked about this, watching it again, is how they die and their bodies. Like, I don't know if it's just everything is so kind of like CGI and on the wires and stuff like that now. Where here it's like they die and they flop. Like everyone's got their like legs crossed, or the Mel dies and his foot stays up on the table. Like, how about you get yourself one of those tickets to the resurrection? So that one's pretty good. Like another bit is the whole part of the scene of the final gunfight with Tony in the stairwells in the stairs is directed by Spielberg. Like there's so much, and then I think De Palma got maybe some other people to direct some other scenes as well, because there was a whole little club, kind of like the Rat Pack, but it was of like the young directors of the time, right? So Scorsese, Spielberg, De Palma, Coppola were all buddies and would direct certain scenes in movies. Favorite character, man, Manny's up there, man. Manolo, just like having a name on the women's jeans so that's on their asses, and then just another weird dub when he gets slapped and he's like lesbians. On TV, they changed that to lame brain. It's like what? Like it makes no sense. Like and JP, it dates it to the 80s. Yeah, that's a good thing. It was in the 80s. They were at the discotheque. What do you expect? Like
Yeah.
I I like Ernie. I mean Chi Chi or whatever, but I mean for favorite character, I think I'll go with Manny just because his line, like he's like he, all the characters like Ernie, background characters, they're all so rich, right? Again, movies over the top. It's kind of like the spaghetti westerns also, that when they came up, they were like so raw and just like kind of like, oh, we've never seen anything like that before. And this is a similar movie. It had completely taken the kind of that genre and form and like flipped it on its head. I mean, And so like they start playing those music kind of like when Michelle Pfeiffer is making her entrance and just looking. And then you can still hear Manny having a talk like, oh, I went right through. He must have said right through. I went right through like 10 times in 2 minutes. Like every time he had a chance, like I went right through. So like all these characters are having side conversations and it's great. But I'll stick to Manny. Favorite kill, I mean, I like those. I like his legs sticking on the table, like that. I mean, that's hard. Dying is hard, right? Like to do that and like keep your foot on the table. I'll go with that one. I'll go with Mel's death, just because, first a gut shot and then just like all off the chair and his foot stays hanging.
Thank you. Let's go with Jason.
Yeah, so I'm also going to be a Manny guy on this one, just because Manny's probably the only actual Cuban person in this movie. So for that, he's my favorite. Manny is the consummate sidekick. He's like the most grounded. I mean, if that is a thing, he's like the most grounded one of everyone in this thing. And I guess he sort of has to be. You have to like really like Manny. I mean, he's charming and he's handsome, and he's Tony's like right hand guy, and he's like very loyal, and he has his heart's in a good place. Um, but like I remember one time I watched this movie, and I was really surprised that he didn't have a much bigger career than he did. It just felt like this guy had some. I mean, he's acting opposite Al Pacino in this thing, and it just feels like he had some. It's a little bit of movie star stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I've ever seen him anything else after this, but Manny's the guy.
Ray Donovan. He had a huge part in Ray Donovan.
Oh, nice.
I
He's
just
yeah,
cute.
also kind of like Leaf Shriver's buddy. I think he had some substance abuse, alcohol more than anything else towards later in his life. But yeah, yeah, a lot of these people you'd think you'd see more. They were so excellent. Anyway, I jumped on Marina. What were you gonna say, Marina?
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, I never watched Ray Donovan, but I was kind of looking at his IMDb last night because like not only like good acting, but he was kind of cute. I was like surprised he wasn't like a heartthrob and more stuff,
Yeah.
but he looks so different now because I like that show, Queen of the South, and he's
Mm.
like he's like a mob boss, like on 4 episodes, like one of the guys that she like becomes her distributor, and I think Colombia in a different country. I don't remember which part he was, but I was like, that was him. He looks really different now, and not so much just like he looks old, but I could definitely believe that there might have been some substance
Yeah,
abuse
he
too.
he also went through huge weight loss just in Ray Donovan. Like, I don't know if he also got, I don't know if it was maybe cancer or something, but it was like substantial, or due to heavily drinking that affected. Anyway, this is I'm just from what I remember because I really did like him, and I was looking up and I did watch Ray Donovan, and I was like, oh my God, it's Manny.
Cool. Glad to see Manny was working on a really good show recently.
So my favorite character is will be, of course, excluding Tony Montana. I will have to say will be his mom and his sister,
Oh, nice.
because I feel like without those characters, you can't. You need in order to ground Tony's character a little bit more, and for you to keep have some level of connecting even more, because he's doing something that it's bad, but you in a way need to keep somewhat rooting for him in a way. And I love the journeys that specifically the sister took, because like when she came at the end with the gun, I was just like, yo, this woman has gone through so much trauma that she's legit insane at this point. And what a incredible scene to be like, oh, this is not what you want? Come. F me, bah, bah, bah. That was amazing. And then he actually gets shot in the leg. And how many, did anybody count how many bullets did Tony take? Because he took some bullets.
25. I don't know.
More than,
I
more
believe
than
him. I believe you.
He killed at least 20 also with his little friend. He took out 20 after already been shot like 5 times. Like, he was, yeah,
Also, the guy that took Tony out was pretty cool.
yeah. The
He looks
Terminator.
I feel bad because like you got all these assholes who took at least a few shots at Tony, but you know the guy with the shades is gonna take all the fucking credit.
Yeah, that guy looks like he needed to be on his own movie box.
So I'm waiting for like there was talk of doing a new Scarface. I think it was going to be with Diego Luna, and I almost think now kind of a la Creed, where it was like he was the son of one of the girlfriends. Michelle Pfeiffer left. She survived. She got out. Maybe she did
That's what
finally
I
get
said.
pregnant. She was actually pregnant when she left and got clean. And
Nah,
then she had a
that womb
baby.
is polluted.
Let's
I
be
mean,
real though. Crackheads are the best kids. No kidding.
yeah. I thought maybe that's why I thought maybe Michelle Pfeiffer, like her character, ended up in Dangerous Mind, and that's why she was able to like reach the kids and like be able to relate because she was like, "I've seen some shit, guys."
But I
That's
said the
fair.
same
she
thing.
she
I was
she
like,
moved to a different gangster's paradise.
yeah.
That's there it is.
I thought about that though. Like she technically left. I wonder if they left that open on purpose. Did you guys ever see any credits or interviews that said that why they did it like that? Because I mean, it's very valid that she was gone. She never.
Uh, Nothing about that. I can remember in the original. I would also recommend watching the black and white one, which was in the DVD, the special edition, because there's a lot of stuff that is very similar. Like the whole "The World Is Yours," which was on the blimp, that's on a billboard in the black and white one.
Mm.
A lot of the interactions between Tony and LV is from also the black and white. Like some lines are verbatim. So I can't remember if the LV character leaves in the black and white Scarface. But yeah, no, I think it's just maybe to show that some people are able to get out, you know, um, the lucky ones. But yeah, Tony's mom, it's like both son and daughter the same day.
Dang.
Yeah.
I think too. I don't know. I think like a lot resonated. Like I'm not very in touch with my Hispanic side. Like my mom had to flee her country at a young age, and she got adopted by a family that didn't like speak Spanish or anything like that. So, but I still feel like just seeing like people through life, like the like Hispanics coming, because Cuban is technically Hispanic or no? Am I?
Sure. Why
Yeah.
not?
Um, I really like the mom too for that. Like you could just feel her like that tradition, that pressure, like to be such like a good citizen when you come here. And she was just like so embarrassed by him. And I was really thinking, I'm like, it's such a conflict because she almost sounded like a hater. Like she didn't like him doing what he was doing. He's out here getting money. But in reality, it killed both of her kids. And it's like sometimes you don't sometimes I'm an entrepreneur and I believe in taking risks and things like that. And sometimes I feel like that old school doesn't really like that. They're like, just do your work, go to work, do this, do this, do this. Don't get away from the grain. And that's not just Hispanic. It's a lot of different nationalities that come to America from different countries because it's like there's a blueprint in our some of our countries that we've come from. You can work as hard as you want, and you never would have been able to make anything of it. But you come to America, you can do this, you can do this, and you can just see that in her. And it was just so sad because, like, on one hand, you're rooting for him because he's doing big things, but on the other hand, like it's such a dangerous life, and like this poor mom doesn't have any children anymore because of like those life choices. But you can really feel that from that family dynamic, and I am also glad that those characters were there to kind of see what he was working so hard for, even though he was being rebellious in a sense.
In a sense.
in a sense.
All right.
And I want to mention one scene just because we're running out of time very quickly. It's a scene that I definitely don't want it to be forgotten. But how about that scene that they're all having that meeting and it's like, hey, meet this person from Washington. Hey, meet this person from here. Hey, meet this person from here. We all got problems that we can fix.
I know.
And the old
Politics, baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
a
that
good.
whole thing.
Sorry.
Well, no, the whole war on drugs also of not really focusing on the problem, and it's still going. I mean, the whole border wars and stuff like that. It's perfect. That's the idea of we're fighting a unnamed country. We're fighting a war on drugs. There is no flag. There is no whatever. So government, give us more money to fight that war. At the same time, that's getting money the other ways. Maybe less now, or I would hope that the law enforcement is less inclined to kind of find the gray areas and take the bribes or whatever. But especially in that time period and stuff like that, that's what DA and all that. I mean, it's been proven. So, yeah, there's that part of the movie as well that it doesn't touch it as much, but it is that point of, you know, him saying like, say good, you know, goodbye to the bad guy, you know, even when I'm lying, I'm telling the truth type of thing. So, um, it's still going on. That story is, you know, clearly this is super embellished and all that, but these stories are around still.
For sure. I also, just because this is a movie about drugs and making money selling drugs, there's this documentary that I saw about a decade ago. It's probably the best documentary I ever saw about selling drugs and how it actually works from like the lowest level to the highest level and who's making money and who's not and where the money is actually going and why it'll never stop. It's called How to Make Money Selling Drugs. It's a documentary. You can probably just find it streaming anywhere, but terrific stuff. And even though you think you know the answers, it's mind blowing to see someone present it to you with all the facts. And it's like, the drug war will never end. It will only
Yeah.
be more, no matter what. I was going to say, even if all the drugs became legal, some kind of way, the way they pump money into the whole institution of capturing drug offenders,
Yep.
there's so much money involved in that,
Yep.
it will never end.
They don't want it to end. That's the other thing. You can have it ending, you know. That one time that California, the first time I think the marijuana thing was on the ballot, it failed. And
Yep.
the kind of the fear tactic was like, oh, the cartels are gonna come, and if we legalize weed, cartels are gonna come up from Mexico and wreak havoc. And
And
it's
they're
like,
gonna beat us up for messing with their money.
come,
All of
it's
you was
like,
in on it. The cartel just comes for everybody.
don't vote.
How'd you
Don't
vote?
you
How did they come to
vote?
your door with a gun? How'd you vote? Like, I don't.
Meanwhile, in Uruguay, the president way back when was like, Uruguay is so tiny that they were like, legalize everything. I think even like heroin, they're like, we're such a small country. We don't, like, these cartels have more money than we or whatever. Like, let's legalize it. Let's tax it. Let's get programs to help the people that might be, addicts or whatever. But it's like, we lost the war. We've
Vice
lost
did a
the
little
war, you know?
expose on that, and
Yeah.
I would highly recommend that too. It's fascinating. Oh, they got rid of everybody, Dino.
Just us two. Hey,
All right.
man.
Well, let's go ahead and end it before they get back.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, speaking of all this, you guys want to buy some drugs? No, I'm kidding.
No, but definitely.
Uruguay. Just real quick with Uruguay, there's a Vice documentary, and one of the most interesting things about it is that what? Why is everybody looking like that?
Well, Jason and Dino sidebar. That's what they're.
Oh, Jason and Dino sidebar. Okay,
Yeah.
just real quick, the Uruguay thing is fascinating because after they legalized drugs, the use of drugs went down dramatically. Nobody wanted to do them anymore once they were legal, and it's like that's bizarre.
Not
But that's
cool
it.
anymore.
Not cool anymore. Oh man, now it's fucking lame, man.
Oh, now my grandma's doing meth too. Uh, so, yeah. So another scene, one last scene that I don't want to be forgotten was the only scene that we get of Tony Montana essentially being slightly, not necessarily breaking character, but when he put the little hat on,
Oh yeah.
we get, a little bit, let's see a little bit of the feminine side of Tony Montana.
Yeah.
I thought
That's
that
in
No,
the
wait.
that's in the black and white movie. Almost that's
Is
they're
it?
in the car, they're talking. I think he even does the hat bit and the whole like I like Frank, but I like you better. Like that whole thing, like is in that black and white. I recommend it. Watch it. Watch the black and white one. It's very interesting. It's Al Capone.
I wonder
Like
what the audition was for it. I mean, they probably had multiple auditions, but like, I wonder what was because he wasn't like famous yet when this came
he
out.
was.
He
He
was
was.
pretty famous.
It was
Godfather. He
after.
was already
Yeah.
nominated for Best Actor, I think, twice at this point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. Probably.
Godfather is
The
the one
audition
where he
process
could
for
have.
Godfather was hard
Yes,
for
because they
Pacino.
didn't want him.
I'm betting this
Because he
one it was
was.
easy.
He was. Yeah, they didn't want him for the Godfather.
So
Mm.
I think what happened with Scarface was is that he had got a call from his agent that Brian De Palma wanted to do a Scarface remake, and he had met with him. He goes, and then that night he was leaving dinner with some friends, and he walked past some old theater in Hollywood, and he saw that the original Scarface was playing, and he convinced the other three people that were with him, like, "Hey, I just got offered, the remake to this movie. Like, let's go watch this tonight," because he had never seen it before. And so, like, they watched the 31 version, and after that, he like, yeah, I definitely want to do this.
Oh, that's cool.
Uh,
It was
Nice.
very
Yeah.
serendipitous for him.
Do you have box office numbers?
I do. So this movie surprisingly had a $25 million budget in 1983, which seems like a lot of money for this movie. But I mean, I guess permits to shut down Miami and shoot on South Beach and all that stuff cost bucks. Nice
Well,
clothes and cars all cost money. Cocaine
crane
cost money.
shots. Crane
Oh,
shots.
all the blood, all the blood.
all the
Right, like
blood,
tons of
all the
frame
frame
shots.
shots.
They
Domestically, this
also won't say what they substituted
Yo,
cocaine with.
you know how expensive it is to put a bomb under a car of kids?
yeah, there was some stuff happening, lots of gunshots. So it grossed 48 million domestically, 66 million worldwide. So this thing wasn't like a breakout smashing
No.
success, but it did okay. This movie really found its life on VHS.
Yep.
VHS had just started to come out around that time, and everybody, saw this, the rental houses and stuff like that.
Well, there were people. I don't know if
And now we're
picketing, but
streaming.
the protesting and stuff like that. The movie ultra violent. It kept getting NR rating from
Right.
MPAA, and finally, that's the other thing. Like it's ultra violent and all that, but the way they were able to bring it back down to rated R is they actually brought police from Miami to talk about it and be like, no, because like the whole chainsaw scene in the bathroom,
They
those
thought it
are
was over
from
the top.
yeah, and those are from they're in the newspapers
Yeah.
of that time period.
Mm.
So a lot of the violent stuff that was happening were taken out of clippings from the newspaper, which is kind of that's why I think this kind of as a remake from that original did well because the whole Al Capone is like, yeah, we know all those stories from there, and then in the 80s, it's like, oh shit, look at all these violent things. Maybe we can tie in as a new Scarface type thing. So and so yeah, so it was almost gonna get NR until that final time they brought it up after edits and edits. And so then they were even kind of like there must be an uncut version of Brian De Palma of because he had to re-edit all the times. And he said, no, the one that made it to the movies is my first cut. because once I brought the cops and the MPAA agreed on it, I just released my original version. So, yeah, another little nugget of how it's connected to the actual somewhat realistic nature of it, over
Right
the
on.
top realism.
Alrighty. So before we jump into final thoughts, does anybody want to say anything? Nope. Here we go. We're going into
Darn it.
final thoughts. And let's start with darn it, you are JP.
Oh man, why you gotta do it to me, man? Oh man. Nah, I'm just playing. Yeah, it's a fun movie. I guess it's just not for me. Because I really do like gangster movies, and I think I just was expecting maybe too much, but it's whatever. I'm a crazy person. But yeah, I mean, I can't doubt that this is a quotable fucking movie. Like, there are so many good fucking quotes in this damn piece. Like, I swear to God, man. And just like the use of stuff that like the little seeds that they put throughout the movie that goes into play later. I really appreciate that shit when it comes to like just not just movie making but storytelling. It really shows like, okay, whoever wrote this, like, they knew what the fuck they were doing. I mean, yeah, it's a remake, but they did their own thing. Plus, ooh, like I would have loved to seen a bit more violence. I'm not gonna lie. I think when I first saw it, like, I had the chainsaw scene for some reason. I remember it being much more gruesome. Yeah, like when I saw it again this time around, I couldn't help but feel like the violence seemed a lot tame. But it
Yeah,
could be because
I
like,
think it's because you're confusing it with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah. I'm just a desensitized freak, so yeah, fucking Texans. I give this movie a B. It's a B. It's a B. It's worth a B.
I'm
I
surprised.
suppose.
I'm surprised JP's favorite character wasn't Marta.
Was it which one?
Marta from the hotel room. The girl with the yeah. This is Marta. Hello, Marta.
Let's go with
Yeah,
She is, I think, where the resting bitch face comes from, because
There was never a
that
moment.
was funny.
There was
Was
never a
what?
moment where I ever saw this film where I didn't think Martha was a threat. Like like even when I saw this when I was 17 years old, I was like, "Oh, get out of there," because Martha was there for business.
As soon as she pulled that thing out of the pill too, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll give my final thought. So would I recommend this thing to anyone? Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend this movie to anyone who hasn't seen it, who's an adult, who has a lust for blood, because you got to have a little bit of a stomach to watch this thing. If you're like Marina or like the rest of us, really, you like a good gangster film, and who doesn't? You like you want to see something violent. You want to see something that's okay. So I don't think this thing is poorly acted. I just think it's acted over the top, which doesn't mean it's bad. Okay. I just think that was the style that he went with, and clearly Al Pacino caught a lot of attention. He's very much a character in this thing, right? He's the main character playing a character. Tony Montana is a character. But a lot of people try to like say it was bad acting, and I don't think that. I think Al Pacino went through all the steps. This guy's believable. Maybe the accent isn't super Cuban. Maybe there's too many white guys in this movie playing Hispanic. Uh, I would love to see who they would have cast as a real, Cuban person or a real Hispanic person to play Cuban in this movie today or even back then. I wonder, could it have been as interesting, or do we need that Al Pacino performance to make this what it is? Because maybe someone else doesn't make this even think something that's memorable. I don't know.
Benicio del Toro.
Say it again.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, but he was like a baby when this came out. So
well, today maybe JP Saruna,
Ah.
he's the new Scarface. Would I watch this again? Yeah, I would watch this thing again. I mean, there's something super iconic about watching Pfeiffer come down in that damn elevator in that emerald green dress. That's just like that's wonderful. That's a part of movie history. Him standing at the top of those steps, blowing everybody away. That's always fun to watch. Yeah, this movie has more views in my life, I'm sure, and I would definitely watch it with someone who's never seen it before. That seems like it would be fun.
Thank you so much, Jason. Let's go with Marina.
Yay. Yeah, I'm still a little kid on this. I enjoyed every bite. I'm glad I can finally say I've watched it. Um, I feel like when I first like moved out from my parents' house, I was working at like a clothing shop. They were making like the Scarface jackets that people would wear.
Right.
Like it was like a like these big coats. I just remember trying to sell them and stuff, and I thought they were so ugly. And my boss was like, "You're fired because you don't know how to sell stuff you don't like." And I'm like, "Oops."
What?
But maybe if I would have seen the movie and understand why a grown man would want to wear a coat with Scarface on it, I would be at the height of my fashion career at this point. But I would definitely watch it again. I think like Jason mentioned, like just like some of like the iconic scenes. Like I'm very big on legendary. Like it's just so cool to me that like these group of people came together, decades ago and created something that like people still quote to this day. So I definitely like love watching films like that where it's like wow, like this is like they were all babies and they were all believing in something and a lot of them are still acting and it's just like so cool like that they could be like, "Oh yeah, I was in Scarface." Like um I would recommend this too to someone who hasn't seen it. I feel like I was the last person on earth who had it, so it may not be anybody out there to recommend it to, but yeah, I would definitely do so. If like someone hasn't seen it, now I can put my pinky up and be like, "What? You haven't seen Scarface? Have you been living under a rock? Like what?" Like I hadn't just watched it yesterday, but
Get
yeah,
a big movie snob about it.
yeah, just like, but yeah, I give it. I don't even know what my thing is, stars, whatever. It was great. I loved it.
Okay, so I do have one for you. You asked me earlier about so what's a reference? One just popped in my head. The Monica music video where she comes down in the elevator in the house. Do you remember that?
Mm.
Okay,
No.
well
Didn't
you
Jay
Google it
Z
later.
didn't Jay
Monica
Z also have one in that
who?
house? Jay Z.
Maybe they might have. Yeah, there might be an early Jay Z video in that house as well. I mean, listen, that house has been on everything. Everybody's used
Yeah.
that house, that elevator. But I do remember the Monica one that comes to mind because she comes down with her arms stretched out, just like Michelle Pfeiffer in the elevator.
Mm. Michelle Pfeiffer.
That song.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dino.
Hey, hey. Um, I'd recommend this to a lot of people. I do like someone was talking about, just like if you like violence, gangster, all that. I would even go if you're a filmmaker or you're wanting to be in the film business. I think this is a great film to watch, right? Because again, this has been referenced in so many things, not just pop culture in general, right? Like if you're wanting to get in the business, see this, see how this is super over the top acted, is super, like ultra everything, but you should watch it. You should see what something can be and become bigger than what it is, right? It's funny in the video game Scarface, they unlike GTA when you can go and just kill random people, Tony won't kill people. Like unless they're bad. If you try to shoot anyone in the street, he'll start quoting the lines like "fuck that, I don't want that in my conscience," like no, like he won't go after like innocent people, innocent civilians, like kind of like the not going after kids or whatever. So that was kind of funny of the video game. Definitely a fun play. I had like three, maybe four games that I bought when I bought my PS2. It was FIFA, it was Scarface, it was The Godfather, it was Red Dead Redemption. That was like it. That was like all my genres of movies and FIFA because football. So yeah, so I would recommend this. I still recommend it to everyone. It's just, it's over the top. It's crazy. If you want to be more in with pop culture and have a little bit more of the riz, you should watch this because there so much comes from this. And Michelle Pfeiffer, is she one of the actresses that has been in the most songs, maybe as a drop? Like either from this or even like Catwoman, like whew, talk about a underrated sex bomb from the 80s. Of just like she had some roles where, yeah. Oh, and her character as like a lot of like drug or whatever movies will have the women just be like, kind of the hot, girlfriend, whatever, not have a lot of and maybe more in the 80s, right? That the women, some of these women characters in this kind of mob movies might have had a little bit more to say. But like her character is super interesting also, just to put in like not just like the sex appeal, but oh, same thing with Gina. Both of the female characters in this actually seem to have their own arc and their own voice and did kind of stand up and stuff like that. So yeah, I recommend this to people and watch the original black and white one. Go buy the video game, play the video game. Oh, you were talking about clothes just now, Marina. Someone bought me and my roommate Scarface matching pajama pants. and we and we would hang out like her and me would just like get home after rehearsal or whatever. It's like time to get into our Scarface pajamas. It was amazing. And this
I can
movie,
guarantee you one thing. I didn't sell them to that person that sold.
well, it was Alabama, so unless you were there in the mid 2000s, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, Alabama, they probably have Django pajamas. Well,
Damn, but it was
le-
Django chained, not unchained. It was
oh
Django
no,
chained.
you're thinking about Mississippi. So let's go with my final thoughts. This movie was remarkable. This movie is incredible. I would definitely recommend it to people. I will say I will mainly for so I can see why. I can see why this movie resonated specifically with men because there's a lot of like I don't know if it's red pill or what is it called, but there's a lot of that for
Yeah.
sure. At the same time, this movie does teach in an era that probably a lot of men probably grew up with not a lot of dads and stuff like that. It probably taught a lot of men how to like be more confident about themselves, go and take out, what the world is out there for you. Even in the movie, there's many moments where like you can see like he's literally using visualization of like things that he wants. He's like, I'm gonna have that girl. I'm gonna have a freaking tiger. I'm gonna have all these things that Mike Tyson wanted later in his life because he watched this movie probably and got influenced. Uh, and I could see why like this movie has such a strong grip in culture. And honestly, I would like to see more movies make like this because even I saw like maybe the first 2 or 3 seasons of Narcos, and the first two is basically this movie, and I could see how much like influence crazy has in pop culture and stuff, and I would definitely revisit this movie again in the future. I could see myself seeing it again. Um, and actually, after I picked this movie, I realized that I wanted to make another pick, but I forgot about it, which I'm gonna leave for way later. Um, but yeah, but it's really cool that I picked this movie because again, it's one of those films that you hear so many references to it or people talking about it, and you feel a little bit like an outsider now watching it. And if you only watch clips, it doesn't really serve the purpose, because in a way, just like the movie we watched last week, it is a little bit of education as well with this film, especially in the beginning. And I really like that aspect of it because it was a great even hook to get you into like what was the thing going on, and that's really scratching the surface with what was really going on with like Fidel and the Cubans and all that stuff. And me as a little kid, I remember having in third grade, I was like one of my classmates was Cuban, and back in that days when I started hearing about how stuff really was in Cuba, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so blessed that I don't have to deal with that stuff that I was hearing people in Cuba was dealing. And that was just what I was hearing as a kid. I'm pretty sure it's way worse, you know? And now with history and stuff, it's good to like just like go and delve into these topics. So overall, great movie.
Real quick, are people? I feel like are people still really referencing this? I mean, we know the. I'm saying like talking. I know in media and stuff like that, it will come up, right? But
What do you mean in
uh,
talking?
like outside of pop culture necessarily, like talking like in social circles, is that still a thing? Have I just not been hanging out? Has COVID just completely taken me away from people interaction that I'm not like part of groups where I hear talk about this?
Well, I mean, clearly you aren't gang, okay? Because me and my bros, we're always talking about the shooting and the duping and the pow,
Shooting in the duping, just like all the
Okay,
gangsters talk about.
so just
gang
me, I
gang.
guess, just me.
Yeah, yeah, just
Well,
you.
not to put too strong of a Colombian necktie on Scarface, but I'm sure we're all very excited to figure out, Steve, what do you got for us next week?
Next week, I'm so glad you asked because it is my turn again. I'm a dictator now. Just like Fidel. No, I'm kidding. It's not me. It is JP next week.
Okay.
What? It's my turn? Oh God. Well, it's a darn shame that I wasn't a fan of this movie because the next one we ain't gonna watch anything like it at all. So here's the next movie.
For
Yeah,
real,
boy.
Scarface? Nice. The
Ah,
1931. All right.
Howard Hughes,
Yeah.
baby.
Well, this will be a good comparison piece.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about like, oh, maybe I should pick this when it's my turn again. So thank you, JP. I think it'll be a great way to see it after seeing this one.
and next week we're gonna be doing Little Women Scarface.
Little Scarface,
I will
That's
not
my
miss that
favorite
week.
Greta Gerwig movie.
No,
Scarface women. But
no,
it's called
next,
the
no,
the
next,
C-section
Little
scar.
scars, little women.
Written by Diablo Coded.
next week. We're gonna do the little kids, the second graders or whatever you call.
Right.
Oh
Just we'll
yeah,
do
yeah.
Scarface for like the next month.
There you go. So for El Dondino, JP, Marina, Jason Echoes, and me, Antonio Montaña. See you next week. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Say goodbye to the bad guy.